All right. So I haven't put out my actual video that I'm going to do, which is it's a long form video I'm working on about understanding who you're following in this, I guess, culture war. Ironically enough, my channel is named The Culture War. So yeah, there you go. But that's essentially the point of that video. It's almost done in terms of scripting. I just have to record. Honestly, I'm just kind of being a little lazy, a little self-conscious about it since it would be my first video. But I wanted to get a ranty video out the way, just something I'm seeing about the censorship that we're seeing in the social media space from for people who have differentiating voices. And by differentiating voices, I mean people that aren't far leftist, people that aren't progressive. Those people's voices are being silenced, taken away, whatever you want to say, on a lot of the major social media platforms. So I'm watching a Project Veritas video about Facebook, and they are content moderators essentially deleting posts and things of that nature in regard to Trump and any positive. It seemed like they were censoring and deleting posts, anything positive in regard to Trump, anything that could be construed as hate speech, or even if it's not, even if it's benign or just an opinion. And it seems like a lot of their content moderators are doing this for the reason of to sway vote. They feel that a lot of them, from when you're looking at it, seem like they feel this is a way to strike back at Trump, to leverage whatever power that they have and use that to go after Trump supporters or moderates, or because they even say at one point, like one of the ladies that was working as a content moderator said that she wouldn't take down Bernie posts, similar Bernie posts, because she feels like that doesn't really make a difference, and she just feels that people just don't like Bernie for whatever reason, so there's no point in taking that down. But anything positive for Trump, they'll take down.
It's like, think about the amount of impact that you could have if you remove those types of posts.
Yeah. I mean, like once
The hateful.
yeah. That's true. I'd rather remove Trump posts than Bernie posts, though, because I feel like people just say, "Oh, I don't like Bernie," or "Bernie's a communist." Like, I don't really think that would impact anything. But if a Trump post was to come up and it was promoting Trump and I could take that down, then I feel like that's the
They'll leave up things that are really bad. I've seen some of them say, like, if you watch the two videos, and I'll probably link to the two videos, where they'll say they'll keep it up because if it's really bad, if one of his fans, I guess, posts something to show that, or paint the picture that these people most of Trump supporters have these ideas. And I mean, and that's just Facebook. You get to Twitter, and Twitter's doing a similar thing where they're putting content warnings on Trump's tweets saying that he's inciting violence and things. But when there are other people on the platform, blue check marks, people with high followings and things of that nature, are doing the same thing or similar, they're not doing that. They're not putting content warnings, or they're not verifying the tweets for misinformation or anything like that. they're only doing it for his tweets. So a while ago, there was a big push for people who have a problem with this to try and get legislation done that would prevent these social media sites from banning people arbitrarily for content that isn't illegal, just an opinion or what have you, because they felt that it was unfairly enforced. So I disagree with that, because they think that government coming in and telling these platforms that they can't do that will solve their problem. I'm in the camp that ultimately what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to find alternative sites. You're going to, just the same way R. Donald on Reddit left Reddit, made their own site. You know, you got Parler, Minds, just competing social media sites that are popping up. BitChute, which I will post this video to as well as YouTube. You have those sites, and the reason I'm saying that is because what happens when you enact legislation for these sites? What happens is they get entrenched. You're basically going to sign in legislation where they can't do things that would ultimately lead to their downfall as a company. You tell them that they can't ban anybody, they can't moderate how they want to moderate. It won't anger people, and it won't push people to use alternative sites, and it won't give rise to competition. And that's ultimately how you're going to fix this. The only reason Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, the only reason they're able to do the things that they're doing is because they do not have competition within the market. That is the only reason they're able to do this. If they had competition within the market and legitimate competition, they would be on their P's and Q's with their consumer base, which in those sites is pretty much everybody. They'll do everything in their power to try to gain back lost ground in terms of the users that they've bled out to their competitors. But what you do is, when you put these pieces of legislation in, one, you're going to wait forever. That's first and foremost. You're going to wait forever for somebody in Congress, somebody in the legislative branch, wherever, Senate, I don't care. You're going to be waiting forever for them to enact some type of bill or what have you to try and get a hold on the bias moderation practices that they're having. And that's even if the bill passes. That's the next thing. That's even if the bill passes. I'm not coming at this from a conservative standpoint. I'm actually left-leaning moderate, left-leaning libertarian, whatever you want to say. I guess I'm more on the libertarian side of things, and I'm left-leaning. But even those voices are being drowned out. So the only thing at this stage you're going to be able to do to make sure your voices are heard is you're going to have to go to an alternative platform. And you're going to have to congregate. You got to pick one, maybe two alternative platforms, and you're going to have to build those platforms up. You're going to have to use them, whether it's exclusive to content on them, whether it's you use both of them, both your standard social media sites that are big right now and your alternatives, or you just use your alternatives, or you use whatever it is, some combination of the two. You're going to have to bring attention to these alternative sites. That's going to be far quicker if everybody were to leave Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. If everyone were to leave these sites and go to other sites and at least build them up to the point where they're competitive, while they might have a smaller market share, but they're competitive, things would start changing a lot quicker. Because at the end of the day, these are still companies. They're still trying to make money. And if you really want to get them to change quickly, you got to affect them in their dollar, in their wallet. Legislation and all that shit, that's not going to actually help you. You're going to be waiting forever and a day for all these things to pass, looking to somebody else to fix your problems, when the easiest way to fix the problem right now is build up these alternative sites. And I see Parler is having a massive jump in people that are using the site, people that are on the site. BitChute is continually growing. Minds is, I don't know how well Minds is growing, but that's one way in order to make sure your voices are still out there. One way so Facebook doesn't accrue all the power it has. It doesn't just get to dictate how the market flows. And the people that you don't like, the people that you feel are invading these corporations and handing down legislation or handing down company policy and things like that are steering the ships in these corporations, you have to make sure that you go somewhere else where they're not there and let them ultimately self-destruct. If you want to do that, and as well as see if you can get like some legislation passed, whatever, that's fine. But ultimately, you're going to start abandoning these sites, just like how it's always been on the internet. Sites haven't really lasted like that, especially in the early days of the internet. If you didn't keep up with the times, if you're doing some bullshit, if your user base didn't like it, they all fell. They all went under. They all bellied up. That's with MySpace, Dig, and there are others, you know. And then instead of using Google only for your search engine, use DuckDuckGo as well. I use DuckDuckGo mostly. Every so often I have to go to Google if I'm trying to find something that I can't find on DuckDuckGo. Start page is another. The point is, I'm using alternatives. And that's what we need to start doing. Use the alternatives that you have in front of you. Don't just use the big social media platforms if you want this to change. Because why should these platforms, if they're doing what they're doing, why should they be able to stay around? Why can't they just fall by the wayside? Why do you want them to enact legislation that will allow them to stay? Because what's going to happen is people are not going to get fed up with them, and they're going to stay. And these companies don't deserve your money if this is what they're going to do. They don't deserve your time, and they don't deserve your data. That's how they make the money off of you that they, have, is they sell your data. So why allow them to continue to profiteer off of you? Why allow them to become entrenched and be around for the foreseeable future? And there's going to be pushback. You're going to get a group of, the normal group. It's going to be the same group of people, and they're going to say the same things. This is a far right platform. People are leaving, and they're going to this platform that promotes white supremacy and all that good stuff. Like it honestly, just expect the pushback. It's okay. People need to have a spine anyway, and tell these people to fuck off. There's a lot of people are not willing, and it really is the normal people, the average everyday person. So I hope that I could reach that person and just say, look, eventually you're gonna have to stand your ground, because these people they'll come after you, and they'll come after the whole institution, the whole concept of America, the United States. They'll come after that, and they'll burn it all to the ground so they can stand at the top of the rubble. That's really what it is. Because that's what happens when you seek power. You just try to burn everything to the ground. You try to get power, and if you can't get it, you burn everything to the ground. Anyway, that's my 2 cents on this. This ranting video. I didn't research anything other than I was just watching videos and I felt like talking about this. Hopefully I get my longer video out, and by Saturday, latest Sunday, hopefully I get that out and you guys can watch that. And yeah, you can tell me how I did. So, all right. Thank you guys for watching. Again, if you like this video, like the video. If you want to comment, talk to me, engage with me, I'd appreciate that as well. Share this video as well. That's another thing we got to start doing, is just sharing these videos around with our opinions, because right now the far left, the progressives have that field, the intellectual space, locked down in the field of public opinion. And the only way to change that is if you're going to post different videos. It doesn't have to be me. It could be someone else you like, whatever. But that's the things that you're going to have to do in order to change this. Yeah. All right. It's the Culture War. My name's DJ, and I'm out. See you guys later.